Hi there, Luke, Arnold, rendering specialist at Autodesk. And I just want to cover how to render this automotive scene using a backplate and a HDR map. There is this written tutorial with scene files and links to images if you want to follow along. I'll put a link in the description. So I've got a car model here with a couple of spheres for lighting and reflections. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the Slate material editor. And then I've got my backplate bitmap here. And need to open up the render setup window. And under environment, we've got backplate. We can change that to scene environment, custom color. I'm going to use custom map. I'm just going to drag the bitmap onto the custom map. So now we've got our model and our backplate. We just need to create some lighting. So we can create an Arnold skydome light. Click on the viewport and then make sure the type's set to skydome. We need to add the HDR map. So under texture, we can connect a map there. So I'm going to create a HDR OSL environment map. So I've got the EXR file here. So I'm going to connect to the skydome light. Just drag OSL onto the texture. So we've got a backplate and we're getting lighting on the car. We just need a floor plane now. Just create a standard primitives plane, just making sure it's large enough to cover the shadow area for the car. So, then we need to create a shadow matte material to collect the shadows from the lighting. And we also need a map to material, connect the out of the shadow map to the texture map of the map to material. And then assign that to the floor plane. So if we look closer in the reflections of the sphere, we can see that something's not quite right in the floor plane. So these are the specular reflections which are outside of the background plate. Fortunately, the shadow map material has an off-screen colour that we can use for these off-screen areas. So I'm going to start off with our shadow map material that we had before. And then I'm going to create a camera projection and connect that to the background colour, the shadow map material. And then I've got an image here with the backplate that's going to connect that to the projection colour, and then the OSL HDR that we used earlier, and connect that to the off-screen colour. So we also need to make sure that the shadow matte is set to, the background is set to background colour. So now you can see the off-screen areas being projected. And in the camera projection, I've also made sure the camera is set to the physical camera that we're also using. But you can see it's a lot better in the reflections now. So it's looking a bit dull at the moment. I'm just going to increase the exposure of the skydome light to about 1, just to lighten it up a bit, and increase the number of samples to 3 for final frame rendering, just to clean up the noise and the shadows. You might also notice that the lights are quite dull. If we increase that to 4, you should get a lot more specular ray bounces in the lights. Okay, so that's how to render a car using the shadow map material, backplate and HDR environment. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.